there, fellow Etsy sellers! Simply Shauna here, and on this channel we talk all about earning money by having an Etsy shop connected with a print-on-demand shop, a shop that prints all your items for you and ships them out, leaving you with a fairly passive stream of income as you design and have time to scale your shop out with new listings and new products. One of the hardest things about building your Etsy shop is sitting around and waiting for your items to get views and to be seen. Why does it seem to take so long to get your awesome products in front of potential buyers' eyeballs? If this is something that you're struggling with, then you're sitting in the right video. We're going to talk about the top 6 reasons why your items might be struggling to get in front of potential buyers and what you can do about it. So the first thing that's going to be affecting how visible our items are to potential buyers is Etsy's algorithm. If you're new to selling on Etsy, you might not know how Etsy matches up a listing or an item with a potential buyer. So all search engines, Google, Facebook, TikTok, they all work on algorithms. They're very smart algorithms that these search engines are working on. They are constantly figuring out the best match of what items in their searching base to place in front of the people that are typing in the search terms. There's a lot of little things that are going to go into this, and actually, some of these things we're going to talk about specifically on our list, like what the person typed in and what you typed in to match your item with that potential buyer on your listing. Also, just how people have interacted with your listing so far. Do they keep skipping by it in search results? Or is it getting tapped on by the customer and they're clicking into it? If people are clicking into it, it's more likely to now get in front of more people. But the algorithm just needs time to see, well, when this search term is put in, this listing gets clicked on. And then for that search term, you'll start popping up in more search results for that particular search term. It can take a couple of months for Etsy to gather enough data on your listing for enough search terms to start getting some traction there. So it's not surprising for a listing to take 2 months before it really starts getting views. And the newer your shop is, the longer that's going to take, because Etsy's algorithm has less information on you in general. Reason number 2 that your items might have a hard time getting found or getting in front of people is because Etsy favors items that are getting positive engagement with customers. So they are more likely to keep putting items up that are getting clicked on, that are getting favorited. Now, if your item goes out and gets to that 4-month period where it never really got any engagement, it has now gotten, there's a quality score that goes on each listing. It's invisible. We don't know what it is. But the algorithm, the Etsy algorithm is kind of like saying, okay, well, this is a good one to put in front of people that type 3rd grade teacher shirts in. It keeps getting clicked on. So its quality score in that area is strong. Now, if your listing got all the way through those first 4 months and has not been purchased and has not gotten many views, its quality score is now not so good. So Etsy is wanting to put items in front of people that are likely to do well. And now that listing of yours does not have a good track record. So my trick for this, and I still do this, I was doing it this morning for a couple of my listings, and I did this a lot when I was first getting started. Instead of relisting that item and having it on auto renew, that listing that got through all 4 months and didn't get any positive engagement with customers, instead of letting it auto renew with its poor score that's making, now I'm fighting an uphill battle because Etsy's already like, this is a loser, we're not going to put it in front of people. I make it a new listing. So I go and I duplicate it and I make it a new listing. This gives it a new chance at having some growth on Etsy. So if I have some other pieces of the recipe, some other ingredients from the recipe going on with that listing, like I know I did the market research and I know that I used good search engine optimization phrases, then it's worth my time, in my opinion, to go ahead and copy the listing and put it out as new and give it a new chance. I might even employ a new strategy at that point to see if I can get it to do a little bit better. Maybe I'm going to give it a loss leader, which is where you price one of your items cheaper so that starting at price is cheaper, and that's what the customer is seeing when they're looking in search results. If and only if I feel that I did market research on that design and I have elements that were based off decisions during that market research, and I feel that I have good SEO, search engine optimization, phrases that are going to help it get found. 3 is just your overall ranking on your listings is affected by your overall ranking on your shop. And in the beginning, it's kind of like your store reputation, maybe we could say, going as a piece into the algorithm of your listings and how likely they are to get in front of people. When you're new and you don't have much selling history or no selling history, it's not that this so much hurts you, but it's not helping you in the algorithm. So you kind of, so to speak, have to pay your dues, and it's slow. That's just the way it is in the beginning. It's this way for everybody. Now, there are things you could do to help speed that up. In this video here, I go into how I run my ads, and I feel it's a very effective way to do it. So if you want to know more about that, I'll link it down below. But in the beginning, it's just a bit of a time game there with the amount of listings you're putting out, because you just don't have a reputation yet as a store. And Etsy is going to take some time feeling you out and collecting information about you to add into that overall algorithm that is deciding how effective your listings are, how much of a gamble do they want to take on putting your listing in front of customers as opposed to someone else's. Because Etsy wants to make that sale. So they want to put the things that are most likely to close the deal and make the sale in front of people. I can only figure out how to do that based on the information it's collecting on that particular listing and on your store as a whole. Number 4 is your title and your tags, your SEO that you chose to put on your listing. You want to make sure you have some low competition, high searched types of tags and phrases in your title and your tags to help you get in front of some of those customers. And so what this really means is kind of the best thing I could do is give you an example. So teacher shirts is a great term. It's an excellent term to rank for. But if you start out the gate with all phrases like teacher shirts, you're going to get buried. There are lots and lots of customers typing in teacher shirts, which is great. But there are also lots and lots of sellers using a phrase like teacher shirts. You're going to find more success niching down, getting more specific rather than that broad idea of teacher. Maybe it's a shirt for a 3rd grade teacher. And now you can go and you can use some of those phrases that are more specific and more targeted for a niche down item like 3rd grade teacher shirt. These types of phrases are going to help you get in front of customers. Now, I would also want those larger searched words that are more competitive also in there, because I kind of think of them like stepping stones. Like, they're going to get you the traction at first, the smaller, more specific, not necessarily smaller, the more specific phrases. But then once that listing has a positive quality score, you have an opportunity to start ranking for words or phrases like teacher shirts. The next thing that could be affecting your visibility with customers or potential buyers would be quantity. And I know this one is not always everyone's favorite to hear about, but it really is true, especially if you are a print-on-demand person. If you're doing something more handmade, that might not be as applicable. But if you are doing print-on-demand, the time and the energy is going to come from somewhere. If you're doing something more handmade and you're making actual items after people purchase them, then a lot of your energy, there's not going to be as many people competing against you. And so it's not going to be as competitive when you go to list your things, so you don't have to list as many things. But every time someone orders something, you're going to have to go create that item. Now, with print on demand, you don't have to go create anything after people purchase it. but you're going to have to list more items on the front end so that you can get found, because you're going to have a lot of competition with other sellers that are doing print on demand also. And that's okay, there's plenty of space for you, especially since most people won't see it through long enough to get successful. So if you're willing to see it through long enough and to play with the strategies enough, you'll be one of the people that is able to achieve success. It is going to take quantity. Think of it like fishing. If you have one fishing pole, one listing up for consideration, one fishing line in the water, how many fish are you going to catch with that? Now let's put 500 lines in the water. How many fish are you going to catch with that? So if you want consistent sales and you want to make consistent money, one line in the water just isn't going to get you that. And it's going to be very hard to drum up those initial sales with something like that. So quantity does matter. So quantity matters, but so does quality. And if you are getting the quantity up without the piece of each of them being quality, you're going to get nowhere and be very frustrated and think that this doesn't work. So you need to revisit that quality piece. And how do you get a listing up that has quality? It has to be backed by market research. So that means that you have to have done the research. You've got to have gone through, made sure that there's demand in the market for this item. That's simply by going in and looking to see that there's other bestsellers. People are wanting items like this. And then making sure that you are taking note of the elements that are going well in those types of designs and incorporating them in a different way in your own design and adding value to the market. The better you know the niche that you're designing in, the more easily this skill will come to you and be developed within you, and the faster you'll get good at it. I will link this video here about my process of making sure that I'm doing the market research behind my designing. You should really be watching as many videos about market research as you can, because that is one of the biggest things that will change the tide in your store. If you get enough listings up infused with market research based decisions, that is really going to help you more than anything else could possibly help you. Creative Fabrica is one of my very favorite tools, and I do have them linked down below. If you're looking for a great place to get beautiful artwork to use in your designs, but if you are pulling items as is off of Creative Fabrica and just throwing them up on shirts and putting them in your shop to get the quantity part down, you're not going to get anywhere. You're going to be frustrated. You really have to make these items special. There's so much amazing artwork that you can find in Creative Fabrica. So if you find that there's certain elements that are going well in a particular niche, you can go into Creative Fabrica and get those elements and use them in phrases or in designs. But you don't want to go in Creative Fabrica and just download a bunch of images because you think they're pretty. Everything should be done as a result of something you noticed going well when you were doing your market research on Etsy. And you might have noticed already that a lot of these factors are kind of linked together. So remember that very first one we talked about it taking time for Etsy to understand your listing and who to put it out in front of, and it needs those positive interactions and engagement with a customer. So when they do start putting your item in front of someone needs to be clicking on it so that you're going to move up in the algorithm, get positive marks, get that positive score for your listing. Well, that can't happen if that listing isn't fulfilling this part of the deal here with quality. So if you are throwing designs up because, oh, this was pretty on Creative Fabrica, I'll go look up SEO that goes with this, I'm gonna throw it up. If you catch yourself doing that, stop yourself immediately, go back to Etsy, do the market research. If Fabrica give you an idea for a niche, well fine, go do the market research in that niche. If, let's say it's sunflowers, if sunflowers are going really well in this particular niche that you're looking at, and you see a lot of sunflowers being incorporated in the designs, then yes, go to Creative Fabrica, find sunflowers that you can use and incorporate in the phrases that you're making. so that you can list them in this particular niche. But it should never go the other way around. You found something cute on Creative Fabrica, so now you're just going to put it up. You should be on Creative Fabrica because you were there for a purpose. You saw something during the market research. Oh, sunflowers, that's going well in this niche. Boom, I'm going to Creative Fabrica, I'm going to find some of the coolest sunflowers around. And you will find some of the coolest sunflowers around in Creative Fabrica. But you should be looking on Creative Fabrica with a mission, not just playing and just picking whatever looks pretty on Creative Fabrica. Last but not least, and this is another one that's really going to be linked with the others that we've chatted about, consistent listing. So we know that we want our shop to get into that Etsy algorithm. We know we want the listings to get into that Etsy algorithm. Etsy wants consistency. You are going to help your shop get into the algorithm by showing that you're an active user, you're a trustworthy user, and sending those signals to the algorithm that you are going to be in your shop to receive that order and send it out. So there are pieces of that that just make it look like your shop is healthy and are going to help you in the algorithm. And then that also goes with getting you that quantity that you need. And hopefully you are always practicing the strategies, so with each listing you're getting better and better at providing the quality that is needed. So consistent listing is absolutely so very important. Don't go anywhere. Let's work on that market research piece right here, but not until after this tip from Tucker. Tucker, take it away.